ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
Welcome back once more, ladies and gents, to the ESL Katowice Royale, and we are getting closer and closer to crowning our duos champion. That's right, we are into round 12 of our competition now. Obviously, we've been focusing on these duos for the last couple of days, but before we get into our next round, we thought we'd ask our duos a little bit of a question, saying, if you could team with anyone, not just a Fortnite player, who would it be?
That's an interesting question, actually. But, well, I already have my perfect partner, so that would be it.
Same.
Okay. For me, Hulk, because when I was a child, I look every film of him, like Avengers.
I'll take Mickey Mouse.
I'll take Minnie Mouse.
Have you a reason for that?
Nope.
Why not?
Just want to play with mouse.
I'd probably pick myself, which I kind of already have.
I don't know, I'd pick like a Jedi of some sort from Star Wars, like Luke Skywalker or something, I guess, yeah.
I'd probably pick Gandalf, because I was getting to use his spells on some of the opponents.
Chifu. I think Micro for me. Yeah. Nikov. I really want to play with Majin because I always watches his videos in YouTube, and his play is really perfect, and his strat is really crazy, and his building is so fast, and his play is really flex. Right, I respect him.
I'd probably pick Mr. Savage.
Yeah, I've been playing with him before, and he's really insane at the game. So it would probably be the same for me, Mr. Savage.
Way better than any superhero.
Yeah.
If I could pick anyone in the world to be a duo partner with, it would be Elon Musk. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to play Fortnite with. Maybe you could give me a Tesla, you know?
Mine would have to be like John Cena, I guess.
I have to do this. I have to do it. I'm sorry. This is what the guys are playing for. We're all sat here doing the whole "you can't see me" thing. Smart place from production there to not show our faces. We do that.
Well,
great
you
to hear
can't
that.
see him, so he's a great.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, it all kind of fitted together quite nicely, didn't it? My favourite thing from that was the X2 twins. I'd like to play with myself. Wait, I pretty much already do. But Luke Skywalker, good choice over Anakin, because we all know what happened in the
high ground.
You know
who's really happy about that package for now? Adam Savage backstage, thinking when they say Mr. Savage, they mean him. Not you, Adam. Sorry,
Adam.
my friend.
I mean, it might be. We don't know. I mean, technically, I mean, but yeah, definitely not. Anyway, let's talk about the last game a little bit, because I know that you were, both of you, we've had a little bit of time to sort of recap on what we saw in that end game, but break it down for stress, because I know that you are bursting at the seams to break it down.
That last play of the game was incredible, and we've got a little bit of time in between the games where Baller actually went up to the guys and went to Zayt and he said, you know, what happened then? Zayt said, oh, we've been planning that. We've been practicing it. We've actually played that strat before. And that is one of the things I love here this weekend, is the evolution of competitive Fortnite, bringing in set plays, bringing in the changing of drop zones and seeing how other players play over a long stretch of time. And it's beautiful. I love watching it. Today's games have been so hype.
And obviously, we've seen a lot of hype games, but we are really getting down. I said business time, but I don't know what it is now. It's like it's serious business time is what I'm going to rename it. I could probably do better than that, but we've only got a few games remaining here. We talked about how important having a huge game in these final rounds is. Saf and Zayt with a 92-point lead now. Interesting to think about. We were thinking about the start of the day with who was going to drop on the leaders and maybe try and cut them down and keep them out of the points. Do you think that maybe the pressure now goes onto the chasing pack and we could see some changes in drops again?
I mean, yeah, I believe so. I believe we'll see way many more contested areas and just a whole lot of Wing going on. And that's what I like, you know, like if like just pushing people, snowballing, making it to the end game, that's my type of gameplay.
I like the mix where you see players do that in specific games, right? Where they say, okay, the pressure's on, now I have to make sure I get to the late game or make sure I take an area better in the early game. Like, there's so many things in play here when it comes to different dynamics that players are starting to learn where and when they have to change their play style.
But you can't get too desperate either. Like, if you're too desperate, you're just going to fall on the short end. And yeah, you just have to stay composed, and if you're gonna W, just do it right.
And the interesting thing is now, obviously, we've only a finite amount of rounds left. We've only got 3 rounds left to get through today. That means there's only a certain amount of points realistically available. So we need to keep an eye on that gap between first and second place, because if that extends to a certain point now, you've got to think that maybe this could be wrapped up.
Yeah, it may very well could. I'm glad we're taking a look at some of the leaders here, as we saw Vinny and Zextro on your screen before. The thing about that is now I wonder whether people will start dropping on Zate and Saf here, like, because now they've got 92-point lead. That's almost identical to the lead that Vinny and Zextro had, and that lead has now gone. So if the players backstage now between rounds 11 and 12 have said, let's take a look at Zate and Saf are dropping and see if we can mess with their game a little bit. That now is that key question as we go into our last 3 games.
Yeah, I can certainly see that happening. We've already seen it happen a few times today, but enough chatter from the desk. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into our round number 12. Just 3 games remaining today. Gentlemen, take it away.
Round 12 of the ESL Katowice Royale is live, and we're riding on with Saf and Zate, and oh boy, if other people are dropping on them, this is going to be the closest thing we've seen to a pub game start with everybody in Tilted Towers. But for now, they're drifting up. We've seen them drop so many times around Loot Lake, so nothing too different on this start for them.
Still contested here, though, over at Viking. We do still have Zextro and Vinny not changing it up. They worked out for them last game. And yeah, they're contested. Might be a rerun here with Aim Hero and Fax Fox.
But they'd learned. They'd actually brought the gameplay in where it's saying, okay, let's not full-on loot. Let's just grab what we can and take a very smart fight. Meanwhile, some of the other leaders here, Kripa and Boya, very high up on the standings, getting a llama to start this game off, gets those materials. And this is a fight we're going to keep our eyes on all the time, because Zextro and Vinny, same plan as before, sitting back, but Fax Fox and Aim Hero are doing a similar thing themselves. They say, okay, we lost the last duel, we have to be more careful, because for Aim Hero and Fax Fox, this is about them also climbing up the leaderboard. It's not only about denying points, because at all times, each player has a 5-point money to get the earning placements.
That's right. Going on over there at Viking, just taking their time, farming up some mats. They were falling a bit short on mats. The previous round shop, Hoopex and Skix are a bit lucky.
In Lucky, Hoopex and Skix and the Chinese duo both sat in that last 5 position, and realistically, the bottom end of the scoreboard, one game lifts you right the way up. If you can get to the end game, get to a bunch of eliminations, that can drastically change where you end up finishing in this tournament.
Yeah, that's right. And as we can see right now, earlier on the map here, we had 3 teams in Tilted, we have 3 teams in Dusty Diva, so it does look like players are changing it up a little bit, and yeah, I hope we can see some of that action going on very soon.
And that means Bizzle and Demo have extra competition over at Dusty.
Yep.
Aiden and Nick Merckx, we've talked about a lot over at Tilted, sticking to that game plan for the most part. So they haven't really got a whole lot of points from it, but that's that aggro play and how it's a lot trickier to make it work in this points format, where a lot of the points are in placements and then mixing in eliminations alongside. So This is a very, very precarious engage between Zexro and Vinny. You can see everybody just peeking, but not committing to a fight yet. As Aim Hero is trying to get higher and higher. Can't quite find what he's looking for, and his loadout is pretty sparse right now. Enough to get the job done in close quarters, though.
Yeah, and I'm quite surprised to see Amir and FaxFox pushing up a little bit here. They do not have any shields. Vinny and Zexro, they do have pretty good inventory going on. They have good inventory, they have shields, and as soon as they land a hit on either Aim Hero or FaxFox, they'll notice that they have no shields, and they will just start to push up. Probably Mitro going down in Tilted.
Mitro down very early as Maki and Ryux, another duo that we haven't seen too much from this weekend, actually picking up a big elimination for themselves. This is what we're talking about. A few elims can change the complexion of the scoreboard as we go into the last couple of rounds, as Maki takes a lot of damage from Jules and Mies. As they're going to build down, try and trade some of this back, but that's Jules getting dropped as Ryux was able to put him down, and as he goes into the box, who's going to come out ahead? It's Mies is going to drop Ryux. There's dynamite ticking somewhere.
Just going down too quick, just taking that elimination for granted. Not something you want to do. Stick with your teammate, push up together, and secure the elimination.
Jules goes down from that dynamite. Second elimination from Ryux as he drops down to try and convert the duo for that third of the game, and he's going to play this slower, going to try and just own this entire area, almost boxing Mies in like a rat trap here at this point. But look, Mies has found his way out of the trap and is trying to turn it back around from himself. Klingers has another one, trying to disrupt this, does tag the shields, and look at how low Maki is. Maki thought he maybe had Mies completely trapped, but it's gone the other way.
Because I like how Marky just rotated around that area and picked up all of the loot as it did, but he did end up losing high ground over it and trying to make his way out. I'm not sure if he wants to engage or yeah, he does want to engage, and he reclaims high ground.
He's got that compact SMG here as well if he wants to shred through some wood. Does get damage off at first, and now the hunt is on for Maki as he tries to go. Two big things popping up in the action feed as Zexro has eliminated FaxFox. That was the fight over at Viking that we were tracking earlier on, but that fight will persist for a long time as they've actually dropped all the way away from Viking on this exchange, but they're still in the safe zone because it's focused down in the southwest of this map for the first zone.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure they, as you see, Sekra has 2 eliminations, so they clean up Viking, making their way down here in Stadium. Kuna is alone. We know his teammate Mitro.
Whoa! Mies taken out as Maki secures the 3rd elimination for the duo.
And we were talking about this a little bit. After, when you have a standoff going on for so long, you start to feel a bit more comfortable in your area. But as soon as the team, as soon as the opponent just jumps on, like we saw, and just it's unexpected. Yeah, it's unexpected, right?
Unexpected, and unexpected to see only one of the X2 twins on your screen at first, but you can see that's because Jordan and Jesse split as Jesse has the high ground. I was kind of had that moment where I'm thinking, no, has one of them already fallen in this game? They have to play together, you know, but definitely still both in it. Has that Chug Jug if he needs to heal up, but for now, not really worth just for that 50 shields at this point. Maybe if we see them take that trade, we might end up using it.
Yeah, and Jesse and Jordan here, they do want to continue hunting. They are on the hunt. Sipan taking some hits there. They're rotating through the river, which is really risky, but using the mountain to their advantage to get that line of sight.
Yeah, trying to use that hand cannon. You know, that is painful when you're running along and somebody manages to line up the perfect hand cannon shot, and you just, oh, well, I guess I'm down now. Always painful.
Keol is here taking some hits over from Hamlet, I believe, by Violin, and Windwalker tries to go for the snipe up there, up on X8, but does not land it. Keol is here moving together with his teammate.
X8 taking damage from another side, though. You can see after not falling to what was essentially a bit of a quick scope, X8 does survive to fight another day. You can see Violinen and Windwalker out to the side, so heavily contested area, but remember, this is in the zone that we were talking about. This is all safe areas for the rest of this first storm as it closes. We'll have to see how much of it actually stays in the safe area. And this is a very dangerous place because so many people have snipers. So many people have long line of sights.
Yeah, it's a very open area. It makes it very difficult to rotate around, as you do have to use those materials very efficiently to make sure you don't take any unnecessary hits. Look at this, Cloud is landing and turning around with that heavy AR and landing a hit on Jar.
Yep. It's trying to just line up as much as he can as people are floating down on the gliders. Here we go. New zone is going to be centered around Shifty and Polar, as we see Nero and Tajovsky fighting. Tajowski has a lot of support from the crowd here in Katowice, Poland. And yesterday was on a real tear in the early game. You can hear the crowd react to Tajowski. Careful with the cannon now,
Careful,
my friend.
Tajowski.
Careful, don't make this a Niet moment, as he's going to fire himself into the zone. This one looks a lot safe. The crowd are behind him.
I'm surprised he hasn't developed some sort of phobia for these cannons, but well, you know, if you're scared, you're not going to get anywhere. 7 SSK and Jamside in a little bit of a skirmish here versus Ares.
And we didn't see 7 SSK 7 and Jamside in the last game, I feel, but they have been doing exceptionally well over the last few rounds. Yesterday specifically, like 7 SSK 7 had the eliminations racked up. It's only today that we've really seen the big numbers they put up. I think they had 9 in one game. That got obliterated in the last 2 games where Camo and Zayt and Saf both put up massive numbers for themselves. And
very consistent indeed. But let's see if they can make their way out of Salt here. Oh, goes down by Jamside.
Yeah, Jamside's going to try and convert this into elimination, but he's got to be careful because he's a little bit in a treacherous position as well, as Ares is trying his best to pick off anyone that he can, but runs right into that shotgun, and Ares is out of round 12.
Lands on 4 eliminations and looking really good with the inventory. But we see Fa in history here. They hear that there's been a fight going on and they want a piece of the action.
Yeah, the vultures circling to try and pick off anything that they can from the scraps, and that's history. Getting knocked down, they've bitten off a little bit more than they could chew. As Fa now has to 1v2. It's Jamside and 7 SSK 7 trying to convert this, and Bizzle and Demo in the action feed have dropped as well. Another one of our league leaders that we've been looking at all the way through. You just saw it in the top of your screen confirming that elimination. As Fa is trying to bring history back into the game, but look at 7 SSK 7. He's knocking on that door, trying to find anything that he can. This is a long red. Storm Surge does become active, but 7 SSK 7 hasn't been able to convert it. As Fa actually eliminates him from the game. Mistiming out of the Russian and Belarusian duo.
And I mean, Jamside's still...
he got it anyway, right?
Yeah. And Jamside's still alive here, but I did see Lolito and Exisma just hanging out right outside Salty, making their way into the zone slowly, and will probably guard the edge of the zone. So that may prove troublesome for Jamside in the near future here.
Going to be a tricky fight to make his way through. Beehive and Coffee trying to close in on our current points leaders of Saf and Zayt, but they're going to be able to launch pad away. But do they take any damage in the air? Doesn't look like much on offer, as Zayt does get clipped once, but he's able to settle himself up with some brick around him, and now they're in for the slower game. They've kind of playing very well in the late game, and I think that's one of the duos that we've seen have massive strength the later the game goes.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, just about now, their confidence is at an all-time high. They know what they're doing. They're just playing very slow. Can get into those fights, but at the same time, they are pulling out of the fights when they feel like, all right, this might not work. Let's just take it slow and yeah, move to late game.
So one thing that we've seen pop up in this game is that Storm Surge warning to be active. And I think players are starting to play a little bit around it. They're starting to realize in the early game, yes, we have to play for placement, but we also have to deal a little bit of damage from afar. We've got to tag people, and I think that's that adaptation that players are starting to realize with this specific format.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, with Storm Surge, you can choose to fight on your own terms. If you do get those early fights going on, you raise the threshold. Oh, look at this. Coffee is already down and Beehive is making his way out.
Easy elimination at the end of it for Saf, as Beehive had backed himself away. So Saf and Zayt on the board for round 12. And we'll see whether they can get that elimination game up as high as last game, because that was one of the best performances we have seen so far here at Katowice Royale.
Sino and Envy here with looking pretty good. 2 eliminations already. Does have the launch pad in their inventory, as well as some healing. Looking pretty good with mats, but they are by the edge of the zone, and there's a lot of players over here, Stress.
There are so many players congested in this area, and we'll see who makes the first move. As Sino and Envy, as you said, launch pad is there, should they want to use it. Camo and Issa around as well, so everybody in the mix of things on this northeast side of the zone.
Decides to use the launch pad eventually, and that means they make up the sound of the launch pad, notifying other players, hey, launch pad nearby, free rotation, let's recycle.
It's basically the Pied Piper, really. Just all the rats just following in the air. Just get to safety and keep themselves in the game. As Nikov, you know, won the first game of the day alongside Airwax today. That was round 8, so they've started to perform a little bit more consistently on this second day, being allowed into the game a little bit more when it comes to these late games specifically, so I'm happy to see them doing well, as they were one of the duos that I predicted would do well. I know you've had a lot of experience watching and playing alongside them in some of the competitive games that we've had on Europe, and they seem to be doing quite well, but 72 hours, this is as far from European as you can get, as this NA duo is trying to lock down a few more eliminations for themselves. Can't quite find the angle, and that, for now, should be the end of this engage.
Has a rocket launcher, will work in their favor. However, only one rocket, so that's not a lot to work with. We do have another team here. We do have Liquid Vivid here together with Poach, just hanging out nearby. We'll probably decide to capitalize if someone goes down over here.
All the Liquid fans have their heart in their mouth right now because of just the way that they're bunching together. They don't want to see a team kill, but at this point, they really could just use any points that they can get, and that's why you're seeing so much crossfire come through. Everybody looking for the these picks as the rotations start to come through.
Aggressivity going on. Pick it up a bit here. We've started to notice Mentos over there by Greasy River.
It's one of the most aggressive games of that third zone. Constant gunfire.
72 hours and Chap over here. They did, but they ended up on the edge of the zone, so that off as many eliminations as possible. See Seth is sitting above them. Obviously, they don't know it's in big trouble.
Yeah, they may perhaps now has to be careful, as that's one situation. You can see Vivid and Poach were looking over. I don't know whether it's a heavy sniper specifically, but then the follow-up fire, that's it can coordinate very, very well to take down a wall and